It's Champions League Picks edition of the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today. Welcome, everybody, to the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is, Monday, February the 12th, and we are here to pick apart the Premier League weekend, which just finished about 4.5 minutes ago. And the Champions League is back. Me and Barry both forgot the Champions League was back till about 4 hours ago. That's how professional we are. But we'll talk about that as we go. So, yeah, Champions League picks. Not that they're rust or anything, you understand. Champions League games on Tuesday or Wednesday. Joining us from what looks like also Newcastle upon Tyne, because it's not where Bruno lives. It's Mrs. Penaluna's conservatory. Barry, how are you doing?
I'm all right. I'm tired and I'm very, very cold. This conservatory is the only quiet place in my mum's house, but it's absolutely freezing because it doesn't get heated through the winter. So it's Baltic. I'm very cold. I've got a blanket over my lap here. But yeah, other than that, I'm all right. Just very tired.
Yeah, we had the last hour under a blanket together last night, actually, didn't we, watching the Super Bowl? It was... Yeah, tired and emotional, Baz, from the Super Bowl party. It was very good fun. Thank you very much. We ate well and drank well. It was a long old night because I think it was the longest Super Bowl on record, wasn't it? It was only the second ever game that went to overtime. So I've been tired today. I've been hungover, but it's just a long, slow, steady drink, and that gives you a different type of sort of hangover. It's draining, because we got to yours at about 7:30 last night, and 10 hours later, we're still waiting for Patrick Mahomes to throw the game-winning touchdown. Firstly, let's get the news that both sides of the ocean wanted, Barry. The beer pong trophy is no longer in my possession. Sour news for everybody. I lost in the semi-final to Carl Penaluna, the eventual winner. I'll be honest, Baz, I didn't play well all night. Even when I went through the first couple of rounds, I just wasn't feeling it. Don't know what it was, whether I was underprepared or got a bit cocky, something like that. But so that was disappointing. But it was a fun night. We did okay with our Super Bowl picks, actually, Baz. Most of the game script, I think we had right. Unders, which was correlated to field goals, which was correlated to people not doing much stuff. Pacheco missing out on his rushing total, let most of my same game parlays down. Because apart from that, I was around on everything, and we missed on the national anthem as well, didn't we? I gave the entire network a bum steer on the under 91 seconds in the national anthem. But yeah, it was a good night, Baz. I can't believe just before we started, I saw you pick up and take a slug from a large glass of red wine, Baz, because I would not thank you for that. I've got my cup of tea as per usual. But I don't think I could handle a booze right now. You're an absolute animal, Baz.
I felt okay. I felt fairly fresh, despite having an absolute skinful last night. As you say, it's a slow and steady one. I probably got through 15, 16 beers, but over a 12-hour period. So I woke up early this morning. I was tired, but not hungover, not rough. I came back down to my mum's after a few hours, and then had a nap this afternoon. Woke up again, went again, and I've been out for a curry tonight. I promised to take the little one for a curry. She's never been to it. She loves a curry. She's never been to an Indian restaurant before. We never go because Chloe, the oldest one, isn't a big fan. But she's off skiing at the moment. So we said, we'll go down to Cafe Spice and go for a nice curry. So me, Helen and the little one and my mother all been out for a nice nice Indian meal tonight. So
she's a funny one, your youngest. She likes getting involved in stuff like that. I like a sense of adventure, Baz.
But as I say, not feel too rough. But as you say, similar to you, Super Bowl picks was good. My main picks was the Chiefs, same as you. My main prop pick was Kelsey's yards. The one that let me down was him not getting a touchdown, and he had a sniff at it in overtime.
Yeah,
he got close, and if he'd hit that would have hit almost everything for me. But it was a slow burner, wasn't it? Came to life late on. But yeah, a lot of this was what we thought it would be.
It was good. It was a fun night. We said next year on the prop sheet we need what time your brother's going to slow off to bed, because he never lasts much beyond half time. And you could easily say it was about 1:38 in the morning. So where's Jamie? And he's gone. Sure enough, he was conspicuous by his absence. So that's the big over/under next year. Is what
I did have a success last night, although it wasn't in the beer pong. I went out in the first round. Which was disappointing. Mafia did message me last week to ask if my beer pong was any better than my 10-pin bowling. The answer to that was no.
No, you shited both.
But I did win the props contest with a score of I think 13 out of 20. I got right on the prop sheet. So I won the props contest and a cash prize for that. So not all bad.
I won the network playoffs contest, Barry. Won $2,000 that I can't claim because I'm in the wrong country. So that's the biggest win I've had this weekend. It's just going to sit there dangling like a big matzo ball that I can't get my hands on. So that was fun. The chat is full of beans. Riley was first in. How you doing? Serial. Commiserating with old Roy Hodgson. Kyle Wilcox is in. Slick Rick. James Mafia. Duke Lee. Up the Burnley. Ryan Garcia. Glory. And Michael Roberts as well. So evening, everybody. The Premier League picks were pretty shit. I needed a winner tonight to get myself into plus money, and I took Palace to score 2 goals. I wanted to fade Chelsea, and I still think that was probably the right thing to do because I've watched it, and it was dog shit, and Chelsea were dog shit, but Palace were dog shit, and Chelsea scored 2 goals in injury time. But Palace never looked like scoring 1 goal, let alone 2. So, yeah, I finished down on the week. I picked 6 money line plays this week, Baz, out of 10. And I got 5 wrong, but not just wrong. I got them completely the other way. So the 5 of the 6 teams I took to win actually lost. Yeah, so if you parlayed them, you'd have been a rich man. You could have retired. I've got them written down here. Wolves to beat Brentford. No. Luton to beat Sheffield United. Other way around. Bournemouth to beat Fulham. Lost. Now, I'm on the big fade of West Ham, Baz, aren't I? So what I did to fade West Ham was pick them to win, and they got beat 6-0. And then Villa to beat Manchester United. So out of 6, so Tottenham was the only one I got right. Out of the 6 money line plays, 5 completely wrong is pretty special. If you challenged me to do that, I couldn't do it.
Well, only 2 money line plays for me, and I hit them both, Malcolm. I took Newcastle, and I took Chelsea.
Easy game, Baz.
Newcastle, we both nailed, to be fair. You put out both to score and over 2.5. I said Newcastle to win. I did say Newcastle to win and both to score would appeal had I not have got stung with that bet last week. But we did both nail that one. That was good. I got Chelsea. The ladder, Fulham game, I made a good choice. I said to you, we can either go the Fulham route or we can go match totals. And I said Bournemouth were good for corners lately, so we went match totals, 10.5 and upwards. Finished with 14 corners. 13 of them were to Bournemouth. Bournemouth were 13 up on the corners at one point. So Bournemouth definitely another team to watch for corners because they're regularly hitting double figures at the moment. So we got a few four steps up the ladder. I think we got over 13.5 at about 3-1. So not a bad little ladder there. Trying to think what else went. I had the Liverpool game over 3.5. Mayaka just got done. It had 4 teams to score 2 or more. The only one that didn't hit was Luton with 1 goal. But I did put out, I said overs league, Malcolm. I said over 1.5 in all 10 games and over 2.5 in all 10 games. The over 1.5 hit was 9-2. Every game had 2 goals in it. The over 2.5 fell at the very first hurdle with Man City finishing 2-0. Didn't get a sweat out of it. And I think it was a couple of other games, was there? Trying trying to think now. It might be. I can't even think. It might.
Well, sure. Just having a look through. We very nearly. We were kind of robbed by in our two silly crossover bets because you for the Super Bowl in the Premier League, you took a Maka Aka, which was McCaffrey and McAllister. McCaffrey scored, and then obviously McAllister blanked, and then McTominay pops up with a goal, and you were like, "Oh shit, I forgot about McTominay." So you should have gone McCaffrey, McTominay,
especially because McTominay was playing on the Sunday as well.
Yeah. I went Rice Baby, which was Declan Rice and Rashi Rice for Kansas. And Declan Rice scores, who never scores. And then Rashi Rice blanked in the Super Bowl. So the name game parlays nearly came in, but alas, they didn't. And just in terms of the games, like I said, I thought the entire weekend was a little bit underwhelming. And I know part of that was because my picks were all dog shit. Well, I watched Match of the Day. I watched a lot of the highlights back. And on my list of eye catchers, Baz, I haven't got one. I was going to make a bit of a thing out of Chelsea tonight, big and shit. But then they've scored 2 late goals, and I can't really burst their bubble having eventually got it done 3-1. They look crap, but then if you look crap and win, I've got absolutely nothing. It was just a very, very vanilla weekend, I think.
Yeah, it was fairly underwhelming. Obviously, Arsenal fans would probably take exception to that because they went and absolutely spanked West Ham, which was a good performance from them. I thought, from a Newcastle point of view, I thought we were a little bit fortunate. That penalty not given on a one-year would be given most weeks for most teams. And I do have sympathy with Forest fans who are raging about that. Because if it was the other end, I would expect it to be given as a penalty because what we've seen in recent weeks are the ones that are given as penalties. We would have had no complaints if that was given. I was very surprised he wasn't sent to look at that. But a good result for us. Again, it's another away win, which is good. We've sort of got over that sort of jinx now. But yeah, nothing really stood out. Chelsea first half tonight were absolutely atrocious. But as you say, they've come through and won it in the end. Luton was the big surprise and let me down all over the place, Luton. But there you go. It is what it is.
Yeah, we did comment that we got to this stage where, for the first third of the season, Luton were kind of almost like a little novelty story, and then they got a couple of good results. And then last weekend, I picked them in last man standing. Yeah, I mean the 3-4 on the money line. Like if you would have had under no circumstances would you have thought Luton would end up as a 3-4 favourite for any game, and they just scored 4-8 Newcastle, and then they go and throw that in against, of all teams, Sheffield United. So the weekend's going to be interesting to see how quite a lot of teams react, because we didn't see Wolves getting beat. Villa Man United, I still think Villa was kind of the right side, but Villa are on that little slump, and Man United, which is a good sign if you're them, and Courtney's just joined us in the chat, is getting away with it is a good sign. Chelsea got away with it tonight. You could say probably Newcastle got away with it the weekend. And if you can't be great, if you can't play well every week, then getting away with it is a great thing to do. And Man United are showing their ability to do that as well.
Yeah, so that was another success for me. I had Manchester United to score 2 or more team totals. That was another one. So I actually done all right, really, from this week's picks. Especially I took Bournemouth. I think we both took Bournemouth as our underdog play as well, which was a good one. So plenty of good stuff. The ladder was the big bonus for me, and that over 1.5 Aka hitting was obviously good. We've got to keep an eye on it because the goals are just flying in again, like every week. It's relentless. So I'm going to keep riding that over 2.5 because there was only 2 games fell short. The Man City game and the Wolves game both finished 2-0. So we're 2 goals away from hitting 100-1 shot. It was. What was it? 100-1. I'm sure it was.
It was a big price you put out.
Price. I can't remember. It was 110-1 for all games to go over 2.5 goals. Am I 2 goals away from it at the end? So a whisker away. Got to keep trying that.
Yeah, you said we'll get one of them in between now and the end of the season. Team ride. Everyone pile onto that every week, and we'll have one good winner. My Liverpool shots ladder was the only thing that sort of got me out the shit a little bit. Bottom rung was 22. I think it finished on 25. So yeah, that helped a little bit. Who else has joined us? We just said Courtney's in, Michael and Callum as well. Good evening, people. How are we doing? So yeah, Champions League. So I was sitting this afternoon, not really concentrating, a little bit hungover, very
Before we
tired.
go to Champions League, Malcolm, could we have a little tit list talk?
Right. I think I know who you want to put on the tit list.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it's one of two, and it's Liverpool related, as you know. You know exactly where I'm coming from. But it's not Klopp. It's not Klopp on this occasion, and it all stems from this ridiculous argument from Liverpool fans last week about Arsenal over celebrating their win.
Yeah.
I hate this celebration police thing. Like, oh, look, you think you've won it. Like, let clubs and fans celebrate any win however they want. Newcastle fans, your team gets, everyone gets stuck in them every week when they have that dressing room photo and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Arsenal won a massive game there. They're entitled to celebrate it how they want. And Jamie Carragher started. So he's the first possibility, is Carragher, because he started by saying, oh, you've won the game, get off down the tunnel and enjoy yourself. You don't need to milk it. That was ridiculous.
I think, Baz, can I just defend Carragher a little bit? His exact wording was something that Neil Warnock said. So I think he was a little bit tongue-in-cheek because he said, enjoy it, but enjoy it by being disciplined, is what he tweeted. And Neil Warnock famously said that, like, after a game. So it's something that people say rather than he just said it. But
no, I'm sure he doubled down on it on Twitter with someone as well. But anyway, the follow-on from that was Curtis Jones being asked about it a week later. And he said, you know, Liverpool fans, there's a big thing about Liverpool fans and the noise they make. And then there's Jurgen Klopp and his fist pumps to the fans. And that's kind of our thing. And if teams want to copy that, then that's on them. So suddenly teams are copying Liverpool by celebrating the victory. I thought that was a bit of a definite nomination for the test. It was just a stupid thing to say. Like, yeah, it's all right when we do it, but that's because it's our thing. Since when? So it's not very often. I mean, it's not very often I stick up for Arsenal, as our Arsenal listeners will know. But yeah, on this occasion, I think they were entitled to celebrate that how they wanted. And the Curtis Jones one was just ridiculous. That's our thing. Stop copying off us.
I did see a really good Twitter thread someone had put up of things that Liverpool have invented or taken credit for. And it started with Curtis Jones. Liverpool invented celebrating, but they've invented all sorts of things. They invented warming up. They invented scoring. They invented training. Just
the long ball was there, wasn't it? I seen that thread. There was like a long ball pass to someone, wasn't it? And just saying,
yeah,
have you seen this? No, that team could do this. And it was just a long ball to Salah.
Yeah.
It was an amusing thread. Obviously, a bit tongue in cheek, but yeah. So Curtis Jones is my nomination for the tit list this week.
Yeah, Michael's right that Liverpool did that Mexican wave when they drew it home to West Brom once. He had them all lined up across the pitch, didn't he? Holding hands, doing that thing, way after a 2-2 with the West Brom. So I mean, do you want Curtis Jones on there, Baz?
I think we've got to have a Liverpool entrant on the list.
Well, we've got Jordan. Well, we've got Jordan Henderson and Michael Owen, so it is. But you can take off Owen, or you could possibly take off Mike Dean at this point because he's been on quite a long time.
And Mike Dean can come off. It's getting very Liverpool. And Liverpool fans probably don't claim Michael Owen as their own anymore. Nobody claims Michael Owen anymore.
No, everyone's absolutely disowned him. God, Curtis Jones, he'd have been a long shot a couple of weeks ago to make it onto the list of all the people. Curtis Jones is on the tit list with Mark Goldbridge, Jordan Henderson, Michael Owen.
Avoided it for now.
Rio Ferdinand and Mikel Arteta bring up the rest of the tit list. Yeah, so we're going to make some Champions League picks. Like I say, I was sitting handicapping the Championship because I hadn't even looked what was going on. And then Barry messaged me about 5 o'clock and said, do you realise the Champions League's on tomorrow? I was like, nope. So hastily pivoted away. So I've got 2 Championship picks for later on, Baz, that no one's asked for. And I'm going to give them out. If I did 7 minutes work, you're going to hear about it. But we will get to the Champions League once we've told you first about. Underdog fantasy. Great way to play alongside your favourite fantasy players all season long. NBA, NHL and college basketball. Pick high roller on your favourite players' fantasy stats and cash in. Win 100 times your money with the spicy plays. watch along, make your picks, maybe make a little cash over on Underdog's mobile app or website, underdogfantasy.com. Sign up with our promo code PLGP, and Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. Underdog Fantasy, promo code PLGP. Okay, so yeah, this is I quite enjoyed the getting into these Champions League games, Baz. It's not as exciting as it was when Newcastle were in it. It was much better then. But there's some decent looking games this time around. We have, was it the round of 16, isn't it? So there's 4. You have the first 4 ties in the round of 16, and we just start on Tuesday night. I can't find the freaking page. What type of these competitions? Let's find the right page, Baz. Hang on. Tuesday at 8 o'clock, which is 3 p.m. Eastern Time. First off is FC Copenhagen against Manchester City. Copenhagen are 11-1. The draws at 5-1. Manchester City are 1-4, minus 400. So Copenhagen finished second in what was quite a wild group. Group A was the group that Bayern Munich won, that Manchester United and Galatasaray, and they all just beat each other 4-3 every week. But there was tons of goals in this. But actually, Copenhagen were quite steady in it. They won 2, drew 2, lost 2, scored 8, conceded 8. But the 2 home wins, the 2 wins did come at home, where you'd expect them to be more competitive against Galatasaray and Manchester United. They only lost 2-1 at home to Munich, so they weren't terrible. But I mean, Man City are just in such a spot at the moment. They're actually now unbeaten in 19 Champions League games, Baz. Obviously, they're the holders. So you tag 6 on already this season, and then it was 13 prior to that. So 19 games unbeaten. So you wouldn't really fancy Copenhagen even at 11-1. They won 6 out of 6 in what was a relatively easy group. It was Young Boys and Red Star Belgrade who were a gimme. Leipzig were really the only challengers, and Manchester City brushed them aside as well. But Red Star Belgrade and Young Boys are probably decent comparison to Copenhagen. They're not top tier. They're not from top European leagues. Manchester City scored 3 goals in all of those away games. Again, so the clues are there. So the prices, I looked at 2 bets here. I looked at the Manchester City team total over 2.5. That's at even money. So I've actually gone for something a little bit bigger, which is the match total over 3.5. So we can give Copenhagen a goal because they're capable, or Manchester City might get 4. Barry's shaking his head, so I don't know what he's going with. Man City to win to 0, I reckon, Baz looks like. But no, so I'm going to take the match total of over 3.5. Man City can win this 3-1 or 4-0. That's 11-8 plus 137. Baz, why shaking your head?
It's the Copenhagen goal. That is the problem, Malcolm.
You're saying the 4-0. I'll take a 4-0, that's fine.
You can have a 4-0. You can have that.
Thank you.
I mean, the 2 teams met in the group stage last season. 0-0 was the score in Copenhagen and 5-0 to Man City in the home leg. So Copenhagen failed to score in those 2. They're in the middle of a mid-season break. They stopped playing in early December, and they don't start playing their league again until next week, I think. So they come into this with a bit of a lack of any competitive football. They've had a lot of friendly stuff, and they play this Atlantic tournament, which is basically just a made-up tournament for teams who haven't got any games to play. Man City have come through the group with a 100% record, and I think they'll certainly get past Copenhagen, and I think they'll get through with 2 wins here, but it does make it difficult for a start point when Man City are away from home at 1-4. But as you say, they've got this winning run in the Champions League. They've won 10 in a row now in all competitions. And they've kept a clean sheet in 6 of those 10 games now. Earlier in the season, we were taking teams to get a goal against City, but they are getting more clean sheets at the moment. As I mentioned, the 2 fixtures last season saw 2 Man City clean sheets. Copenhagen one of the strongest results of the group was a 0-0 against Bayern, which shows they can be competitive in games but struggle to score. So I'm going to keep going with the clean sheet angle here. I'm taking City to win to 0 at 10-11. That's my pick. Copenhagen v Man City. Man City win to 0.
Man City to win to 0 for Bars. Rick wants the handicap, -132 for City, -1.5. So yeah, the 4-0 fits absolutely all of those. Nicholas Rio has joined us, saying he listens for a while and it's his first time watching us live. So hello, mate. Welcome along. There's loads of people in the chat who haven't said hello, so stick your hand up. One guess what I'm watching on the telly, Baz?
10:30. I don't know. MasterChef.
Sex in the City, obviously.
Nice.
Yeah. That was a price, wasn't it? 80-1, priced up Sex in the City. Second game on Tuesday, 8 o'clock, 3 o'clock Eastern, is RB Leipzig against Real Madrid. Leipzig are, a little bit of line movement here since in the last 5 or 6 hours, actually. Leipzig were 21-10, plus 210, are now into 2-1. The draw remains at 13-5, plus 260. And Real Madrid have eased slightly. We're 6-5, plus 120. They're now 5-4, plus 125. So I don't know what that's all about. But a little bit of money for Leipzig here, Baz. What says you?
Yeah, so the Leipzig came through the same group as Man City, came through as runners-up. They did lose both games to Man City and won both ties against Young Boys and Red Star, coming through with 12 points. But they aren't in great form coming into this. Just one win in the last 6 league games. They've lost 3 of those 6 as well. Madrid, on the other hand, have come into this on an unbeaten streak now of 27 games, unbeaten inside 90 minutes. There have been some defeats in extra time cup competitions. They've won 21 of those 27 games as well. Now, they have got some injuries, not least the injury to Bellingham, who will miss out. But just given the respective form of the two sides and that really long unbeaten streak for Madrid, I feel you've got to take them here at plus money. I think they're a good price. I know they can get the job done over 2 legs. They don't necessarily need the result here in the away leg, but I just think the price is attractive. I think Madrid on the money line at 6-5 is good enough for me to take them. Serial's putting up Madrid draw no bet as a sort of safer way of playing it, if you want to call it that. But I'm confident enough to take Madrid on the money line here at 6-5. So I'll take Madrid to beat Leipzig at 6-5 plus 120.
Team ride, Baz, co-sign, yeah. There was a couple of things really. So Leipzig, they did come out of that group, and it was a fairly straightforward group, but they lost comfortably to Manchester City both times. They are not doing great at home. They're in 5th in the Bundesliga, but 1 win in 6, lost 2 of the last 3 in the league at home. And Madrid were just flying. Won 6 out of 6. The 3 away games, Braga, Napoli, and Union. Not gimmies. That's a better standard of competition than Young Boys, Red Star, etc. And in great form domestically, won 8-9. They've won 10 out of 12 of their home games. All the form lines are just good enough. Every form line you looked at, and 6-5 or 5-4, whatever we're looking at now, is a perfectly reasonable price, Baz. So sometimes, not needing to overcomplicate it, we will take Madrid. I fully agree, Baz, on the money line. We move along to Wednesday. Once I've told you about Hall of Fame bets, helping us win bigger by betting smarter this NFL season. Hall of Fame bets is a sports betting analytics platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. You can research NFL, NBA, and soccer bets with historical stats and data. Put your parlays into the optimizer tool in Hall of Fame bets, and you'll get expected probabilities, hit rates broken down by leg, players' hit rates sorted by value. So stop betting in the dark. Join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame bets. I've seen this Sex in the City, Baz, about 2 weeks ago. What's the chances of that?
I've never watched an episode of Sex in the City, Malcolm. How about that?
I've watched about 4. I can't catch a break this weekend. Monday night, and I'm still running into bad fortune. I'm doubled up Sex in the City episodes. So Lee Smith's just pointing out that Bellingham is out for Madrid. Now, I don't know if is that new news, because that might be what's just changed the line a little bit.
I literally mentioned that in my analysis of the game, Malcolm, but obviously you weren't listening.
Well, I was seeing if Carrie was going to follow Mr. Big off that boat, wasn't it? But yeah, I'm saying that might be the news that moved the lines, though, Baz, rather than.
He was ruled out before today. I think he got picked up in injury.
Wednesday, 8:00. Lazio will take on Bayern Munich 4-1. More bit of line movement here, Baz, as well. Lazio clipped in a quarter of a point. They were 17-4, plus 425, and now 4-1. The draw has drifted out slightly to 3-1. Bayern Munich are steady at 4-6, minus 150. Lazio came out of their group in second place with 10 points. They beat Celtic and Feyenoord and drew with Atletico in their 3 home games. They're only 8th in Serie A, but they're in decent form. They're trending in the right direction. They have won 5 of 7. I struggle to find any patterns with them in terms of goals, both teams to score or over under, stuff like that. Munich were another team that cruised their group, that group that had Manchester United in and Copenhagen. They won 5 of the 6 games. They did make kind of heavy weather of a few of them. And they haven't been stellar back in the Bundesliga. They're 5 points behind Leverkusen now, having got turned over by Leverkusen on Saturday, 3-0. Struggled with patterns as well for them. So I think Lazio can get involved. Like I said, the over-under and both teams to score are very similar prices. They're both quite short. But again, Baz, I'm running scared a bit, so I'm happy to take a safe one. Both teams to score is 3-4, minus 133. What are you smirking at? Have you gone the opposite way again?
No, not the opposite way. You've come up with a choice of 2 there, and you've went for a different one to me.
Oh, okay.
But I've gone similar thinking on the games. I think we're in the same ballpark anyway. I think Lazio currently sitting 8th in Serie A, qualified here as runner-up behind Atletico, finishing ahead of Feyenoord and Celtic. They didn't have a ton of goals in their games. They only scored 7 in their 6 games, so only conceded 7 as well. So not a huge amount of goals in the Champions League stuff. Bayern, on the other hand, topped the group, 5 wins and a draw. The only points they dropped was in that Copenhagen 0-0 I mentioned earlier. But Lazio are in good form here, coming in the league. They've just 1 defeat in the last 7 games, and they can be competitive at home. They picked up 7 points in the group stage in the home games. They drew versus Atletico, and they won the other 2 at home. So, like you, I think they can get involved here and play their part. Bayern were obviously rocked by Leverkusen at the weekend, beaten 3-0, and a result that puts Leverkusen firmly in the driving seat in the Bundesliga. It shows teams can score against this Bayern side. They've got 1 clean sheet in the last 6 competitive games now. And in the Champions League, Galatasaray scored against them home and away. Copenhagen scored at home against Bayern. And Man United put 3 past them in one of those games. So, like you, I think Lazio can play their part. Particularly, Lazio could get a result here. In the home leg, the form is good enough. But I think a safer play is goals. And like you, I've gone for a short one. I think Lazio can score, but I'll take Bayern to potentially nick it. So I'm going to go for the over 2.5 goals. So pick for me, Lazio v Bayern, over 2.5 goals at 8-11.
On the same page here, Baz, so far. A little bit unnerving. The final game for this week is PSG taking on Real Sociedad. PSG are 4-6, minus 150. The draw 14-5, plus 280. And Sociedad are 17-4, plus 425. Bring us home, Baz.
Yes. PSG, unbeaten in 16 games now. They've won 8 of the last 9. And they've scored 2 or more goals in all of them 9 games. The last 2 defeats did come in the Champions Leagues, AC Milan and Newcastle. But they've been in consistent form in the domestic league. Now, I know PSG are playing the same calibre of opponents in domestic football as they are in the Champions League. But they're in very, very good form. You can only beat what's in front of you. And they're regularly beating them and scoring plenty of goals. Real Sociedad, on the other hand, have got no win in the last 4. and they failed to score in 4 consecutive games. So I couldn't understand why PSG are only 4-6 here. As the home team, I think it's a really good price. It's too short for a pick. It's not where I've gone, but I think for me, I would want PSG in it at 4-6 every time. And as I say, I know the Champions League's a step up from what they're used to playing, but I just thought there would be a shorter price in that, and so that makes them attractive to me as a pick. It makes them attractive to score 2 or more at 8-11. But I'm prepared to be a bit bold. I'm going to take PSG on the handicap to win by 2 or more. And I'm getting a good plus money price, plus 175, so 7-4 for that. Sociedad are strong enough defensively. I know that's probably what you'll come and say next. But the form line is full of games where they failed to score. As I say, they haven't scored in the last 4. They didn't score in the last 2 Champions League games. And if they fail to score here, then the handicap's definitely in play. With PSG at home, they've won 7 of the last 9 games by 2 or more goals. And I just think the price is too big. So I'm taking here PSG to beat Real Sociedad by 2 or more. So on the handicap, minus 1.5. That's a price of 7-4 plus 175.
Yeah, the 2 parts of this, Baz, is you look at the numbers and you're absolutely right. It jumps off the page. But then you think back, because we watched PSG a lot. They were in Newcastle's group. And I think they were very fortunate to get out of the group. But for large parts of that campaign, they were sitting in 3rd or 4th. Like, took the last 20 minutes on match day 6 for them to score a goal. And then for Milan to hit us on the break. And all of a sudden, they were in it. I mean, if this was Celtic against Sociedad, and you look, Celtic have won 8 in a row against Bonnie Rig Rose and Ocky Locky Thistle, like you can't put them up at the same thing. So it's a similar kind of thing. Like, so it's hard to evaluate who PSG are turning over. What does stand out is how much Sociedad are struggling. Sociedad were kind to us, really kind to us in that group stage. We backed them on the money line 3 or 4 times, and they cashed a few of the times that we did pick them. So. I mean, PSG got out of that group on goal difference, but at home, they did beat Dortmund 2-0. They did beat Milan 3-0. Sociedad, like I say, just dropped off, though, a little bit. Really hard to break down. Poor form at home in the last 4, like you said, 0-1, 0-0, 0-0, 0-1, Sociedad. So I've gone under 2.5 bars. I think PSG, with the step up of this competition, especially getting back into it as well, because they haven't played regularly since, I mean, when is it, October? Oh no, like early December when this finished, wasn't it? So they've got to step back up. So it might take them a game or 2 to get back into the habit of playing this kind of opposition. So they'll probably win. Give them a 2-0, Baz, again. That fits everyone. I'm going to take the under 2.5 goals, Baz, which is slightly odds on. I think the books are onto it, having looked at Sociedad's form. The under 2.5 is 13-15, which is minus 115. Stephen B has just turned up. Stephen, how are you? Nice to see you. So yeah, that's my pick in there. Baz, do you have any other Champions League stuff to get to?
No, that's it for the Champions League for me. I have put together a little treble in League 2 because, as you say, having our eyes on the Super Bowl, we were all focused on Super Bowl and party and all of that sort of stuff. Took our eye off the midweek slate, and it wasn't until today we realised the Champions League. So I thought we were going to be handicapping League 1, League 2, all of that sort of stuff, and I enjoy handicapping those stuff. So I have pulled together a little overs treble. So we might as well pull off some EFL picks. I know you picked a couple in the Championship, but I'll just quickly put out my League 2 treble, which is Newport County versus Notts County, Stockport versus Crewe, and Tranmere versus Morecambe, all to be over 2.5 goals. It's a 4-1 treble. So a little treble on over 2.5, Newport v County, Stockport v Crewe, and Tranmere v Morecambe, 4-1. Little team total treble for tomorrow night on the League 2 stuff.
Yeah, well, we hadn't intended to do any EFL stuff, but like you say, we were hungover, not realising this was on. So I have made 2 picks in the Championship. And if I've wrote this shit down, I'm going to tell you about it. The first one, actually, Baz, jumps off the page by a mile. So this is Tuesday night. quarter-to-8 kick-off, and it's Leicester against Sheffield Wednesday. Leicester 3-1 on. The draws at 9-2. Sheffield all the way out at 17-2 plus 850. Just because the two teams are completely and utterly operating in different spheres at the moment. Leicester 11 points clear at the top. They won 3 in a row. 2.07 goals per game at home. They beat Stoke 5-0. Second to last time out. The last home game they won 3-1, I think, was Swansea City. And Sheffield have been on our radar a little bit because we faded them in the FA Cup last week against Cov away from home, and they got duffed up 4-1 in that one. They did beat Birmingham at home last week, but beating Birmingham at home is a bit like beating Sheffield United in the Premier League. You can't really count it because they're absolute dog shit. They have won 2, drawn 1, and lost 12 of their 15 away games. And in their last 2 away games in the league, so they conceded 4 at Cov. In the last 2 league games, they conceded 4 at Huddersfield and they conceded 4 at Southampton. I mean, Leicester City are in incredible form. Leicester on the handicap is even money, Baz. -1.5 is even money, plus 100. So, and that just, like I say, Leicester really are a Premier League team operating in the Championship at the moment. And Sheffield Wednesday are absolutely struggling. So I'll take Leicester on the handicap. And secondly, this game might be on Wednesday night, actually. Yeah, 7:45 on Wednesday. It's a Huddersfield Town and Sunderland game. Huddersfield 13-5 plus 260. The draw 23-10, and Sunderland are 11-10 plus 110. So Huddersfield sitting in 21st, but showing signs of life. Huddersfield, they had 3 1-1s in a row. They then had that aforementioned 4-0 win against Sheffield Wednesday. And on Saturday at Southampton, they were 2-0 up at half time. They got themselves 3-2 in front, conceded a few late doors, ended up getting beat 5-3. But like I say, they're showing signs of life. Sunderland have levelled out a little bit under Ian Beale, sitting 7th in the league. They have won 2 of the last 3, but they've still only won 4 of 15 away from home. So I wouldn't be taking them at 11-10 with that sort of record. At the prices, this league's hard. We say it all the time. At the prices, Huddersfield are very, very live in this. The Sunderland fans will be back in meltdown because Huddersfield have been scoring goals. 13-5 plus 260 is too big. So I'll take Huddersfield to roll over the Mackems, Bass.
Nice. I really like the Leicester pick. Huddersfield one. Not looked at it in great detail, but the Leicester pick, just as you say, talking through it, absolutely love that one.
Champion. Well, that's my picks picked. Do you have anything else you would like to tell the people?
No, I'm just going to go and finish my another glass of red and then get warmed up and have a nice long sleep.
Have a nice lovely sleep. Well, I'm going to have one because I didn't get out of bed until 3 p.m, Baz. So I'm probably going to struggle. I'm going to have to knock out at least another half a series of carrying the girls going for brunch before I can sleep tonight. So we'll have to see how that pans out. Courtney's just trying to wind us up in the chat, Baz. She's a right agitator, Courtney. Just nothing but gets in there and agitates us. Thanks everyone who joined us in the chat because it was
busy.
Was buzzing tonight. You what, mate?
It's been very busy.
Yeah,
I'm sure they'll all stick the thumbs up on the YouTube when they're done as well. And keep, we don't have to keep pestering people for Spotify's right now. We've hit 100. We can obviously push for more. But yeah, we're still making progress on the YouTube. So lots of new people joined in the last week, so that's good to see. Keep subscribing if you don't already subscribe on YouTube. If you get us up to 1,000 subscribers, we can start putting the chapters on properly again, and then people can stop badgering me for not having chapters on the YouTube stream.
So yeah, it's good to have the Champions League back because between now all the way through the summer, loads of stuff. Obviously, we're going to have exciting title races. The culmination of the cup competitions and all the European stuff as well. So absolutely tons for us to get on the horse. Appreciate it, Baz. Well done, mate. Good effort. Enjoy your glass of wine. We will be back usual Wednesday, yes, to do the Premier League.
Well, it's Valentine's Day, Malcolm. I'll probably be romancing. You know me, I'm a right Casanova. Yeah. So we'll see. Maybe Wednesday, maybe Thursday.
I've got the usual double bubble, Baz. It's the IT department's birthday tomorrow, isn't it? So I've got the birthday straight into Valentine's Day. Yeah, it's a fiasco. I sent the kid up to Tesco's with my bank card earlier on. Said, go and buy your mother some shite she doesn't want, and we'll give it to her in the morning. So that sorted that out. Yeah, she's lucky to have me. Thanks, everyone. We'll be back on Wednesday because there's no way Barry will be romancing anybody. Until then, though, I'm going to see if that ginger one can hold on to our man for the next couple of episodes, and we will see you down the road. Cheers.